Police respond to accidents every day. Falls downstairs. Slips on wet ground. Moments that change lives in seconds. Most of the time, those cases are simple. Sad, but clear. But sometimes, a case is labeled an accident before every detail is understood. Tonight's story is about one of those cases. A woman was found dead. Police ruled it an accident quickly. No suspect. No arrest. No long investigation. Until one detail emerged. A detail so small, it almost went unnoticed. But once it was seen, nothing about this case made sense anymore. If you enjoy true crime stories where one detail changes everything, subscribe to the channel. Because some accidents are not accidents at all. Her name was Laura Bennett. Laura was 38 years old. She lived alone in a quiet apartment complex in a normal neighborhood. Laura worked an office job. Nothing fancy. Nothing risky. She paid her bills on time. She followed routines. Her family described her as careful, thoughtful, alert. Laura didn't rush. She didn't take chances. She planned ahead. She noticed details. That's important to remember. Because what happened to her did not match who she was. Laura followed the same routine every day. She woke up early, checked her phone, got ready for work. She parked in the same spot, walked the same path, avoided shortcuts. She didn't like the stairwell behind her building. It was old, narrow, poorly lit. She only used it when she had to. Her sister would later say, Laura hated those stairs. That detail would matter later. The morning Laura died felt normal. She left her apartment, locked the door. A neighbor saw her and waved. Laura smiled back. There was no argument, no fear in her voice, no sign of trouble. Nothing suggested that this would be the last time anyone saw her alive. Hours passed. Laura never showed up to work. That was unusual. She was never late, never missed a shift. By early afternoon, someone noticed something was wrong. Soon after, police were called. Laura's body was found at the bottom of a concrete stairwell, behind her apartment building. She was lying still. There was blood, severe injuries. Emergency responders arrived. But it was too late. Laura was pronounced dead at the scene. Police secured the area and began their work. Investigators looked around. The stairs were steep. The concrete was worn. Rain had fallen earlier that day. There were no witnesses, no cameras, no signs of a fight. To police, the scene told a familiar story. A slip, a fall, a tragic accident. The medical examiner reviewed Laura's injuries. Head trauma, broken bones. The injuries matched a fall. Within hours, Laura's death was ruled an accident. Cause of death: blunt force trauma from a fall. The case was closed. For police, it was over. For Laura's family, it was just beginning. Laura's sister couldn't accept the ruling. Something felt wrong. Laura was careful. She paid attention. She didn't walk distracted. She didn't take unsafe paths. And she avoided that stairwell. The family asked police questions. Police said there was no evidence of foul play. But one thing hadn't been looked at closely yet. Laura's phone. Laura's phone was found inside her purse. The purse was zipped closed. The phone was not broken. That alone raised questions. If Laura fell violently, why was her phone untouched? Then investigators checked the call log. And that's when everything changed. There was an outgoing call attempt. The call happened minutes after police believed Laura had already fallen. The call lasted 1 second. It didn't connect. Police suggested it was a glitch. But Laura's sister disagreed. Laura never pocket dialed. She used voice commands. And the number called made things worse. The call was made to a coworker, someone Laura barely spoke to outside of work. They weren't close friends. They didn't socialize. So why call him? And why at that moment? Police reviewed phone records. They found recent messages. Nothing threatening. But the timing felt important. Because of the phone call, police reopened the case quietly. They returned to the stairwell. This time, they looked closer. They noticed something on the wall. A faint scuff mark. The mark was strange. It wasn't near the steps. It wasn't near the railing. It was high. Shoulder height. Too high to be from a fall. That raised a serious question. Was Laura pushed? Police measured the mark. They tested angles. The mark suggested sideways force. Not downward movement. Not a slip. But still, it wasn't proof. Just suspicion. Police interviewed the coworker. He said he hadn't seen Laura. He admitted being near the area. He said it was a coincidence. Phone data confirmed. He was close. But close isn't guilt. There were no witnesses. No cameras. No physical evidence. Without proof, police couldn't make an arrest. The phone call raised questions. The scuff mark raised doubts. But doubts are not evidence. The case slowed again. Officially, Laura's death remained an accident. But questions remained. Why that call? Why that mark? Why that timing? Laura's family still believes something was missed. Something important. Laura Bennett's death remains unsolved. No charges. No confession. Just one detail. That never made sense. Some truths hide quietly. In a phone log. On a concrete wall. Waiting for someone to notice. If you believe Laura's case deserves another look, share your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more stories where one detail changes everything, subscribe to the channel. Because not every accident is truly an accident.